everyone. Good Monday afternoon. Thanks so much for joining me here in our WSAZ Plus studios. I'm WSAZ's Kimberly Keggy, and I certainly appreciate you joining us. For some of us, it feels like it's a little bit of a Groundhog Day, right? We had that winter storm. Some people didn't get out all weekend, and so maybe you're just trying to get out this afternoon, or maybe you have a hot date with shoveling that sidewalk. It certainly has been a very tricky last couple of days. And we know over the next couple of days, we're not out of the clear yet. That's what our team of meteorologists have been saying. And so I wanted to check in here. We're expecting some live updates from some state leaders across the region, and I want to help paint the picture of what we are seeing across the board. Let's go ahead and pull up some video. And when I tell you guys, when you see this is kind of what makes it beautiful, right? Everybody loves that snow globe effect, and this is certainly one. This is our Summersville weather camera here. Ray pointed out just after the lighthouse there, and it is absolutely beautiful. I mean, that is what I want to see when I see a winter scene. It's unfortunately what we're dealing with in the mess of all of this that came with it that is certainly creating some tricky conditions. We've got lots of ice. We've already started to see, reports of power outages. Yesterday when I was in the studio here at WSAZ, I was tracking some of those. And I can tell you, we have some good news for people as we've started to see those restoration efforts. We'll get a check-in on that as far. But also, another big issue that we're starting to see is some water main breaks. And so that only adds, really hits those crews with a double whammy. Not only do they have to worry about getting the roads back up in good condition, but then a water main break happens, and that kind of just washes away all of their work that they have already just put into those systems to make sure that those roads are up in good condition for a lot of people. Let's go ahead and take another live look, though. I'm going to go ahead and pull Summersville up so you guys can see it full. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull up a different camera because not everywhere looks the exact same. And I think that's kind of the beauty of this storm. We know how serious it is, though. But, everybody needs a little break once in a while. And so I think it's important, too, that we also highlight the beauty of the storm as well, because, there are so many people. I think all of us can remember a storm maybe from our childhood that certainly was maybe tricky, or it just kind of holds on to your memory. And so that is certainly one. And let's go ahead and see if I can pull up the other weather camera for you. Let's see if my computer will load. Here we go. I had it up and then they time out on me. So just give me just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and show you what Logan looks like this afternoon. And so this is Logan area. Let's go ahead and switch that over. So that is our Pikeville Medical Center camera. And so you can see certainly a different picture. Not as much snow as you may see in Summersville, West Virginia, but this is what we're looking at in Logan right now. So almost like somebody just started shaking the snow globe right there. And so you can see the mountains beautifully covered, but we do know that it is creating some slick travel conditions throughout the region. Is our team of meteorologists said, you know what, we've got through the thick of it, but we still have a little bit more. We are not in the clear yet. And I don't know if you had to shovel your sidewalk this morning trying to get maybe out back to work. Yesterday, it took me a lot longer, and I still had some of that freezing rain coming down, so it was starting to create some thick ice on top of the snow. Well, today, if you try and go and do it, it's almost impossible, right? A lot of us are having to deal with those tricky situations, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up some video of what we are seeing in certain areas. This is really an issue. This is over in Portsmouth, Ohio. You can tell a little bit of a water main break in that situation. These are what the roads look like right now. And as far as crews just trying to make it through, gosh, they've got their work cut out for them because that ice is creating such an issue and those freezing cold temperatures. So unfortunately, crews were having to deal with that situation. This happening over in Chillicothe Street over in Portsmouth. They were asking people, hey, just avoid the area because it's creating some really, really tricky situations for, those crews that are trying to get that water main break under control. Think about it. All of that water in those temperatures, it's like we'll be lucky if we can see the sunshine today. Really hitting them with a double whammy, of course, because now they're having to redo all the work and lay down some extra salt in that area. So that has certainly been an issue. Let's go ahead and pull up some different video, though, of what we're starting to see. So we heard from Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear this morning. He held a briefing this morning that, as they were trying to get, let's see if that will start. Let's see, is that playing for you? There we go. Okay, so they were holding a briefing. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear saying, you know what, we've made it good progress so far, but we've got a lot to get through the next couple of days. And so this morning he was talking about kind of what their state leaders have done the last couple of days. He said he really, though, if you do not have to go out and about, he stressed those road crews, they're certainly still dealing with power outages. This is a situation in Kentucky. You can tell road closed signs. He said in some areas it's very tricky. And so if you don't have to go out and about, Kentucky governor stressed, though, say, hey, try to avoid, maybe if you had a doctor's appointment this morning, some people just trying to get out to work for maybe the first time this week, it's certainly been tricky. In my commute, personally, it wasn't too bad. It was probably the best that we've seen in the last couple of days, but we know road crews have their work cut out for them. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, though, saying this morning, this is now the state's 15th federally declared weather disaster since he took office back in December of 2019. And he said, you know what, we've been through it before. We know how to make it through. And so that was a good thing, because he says we've had a little bit of trial and error. We know exactly what works, what doesn't, what we need to alter in the plans. And I want to go ahead and pull up some sound from his briefing this morning. The main concern, though, that he was stressing, he said, number one, if you have to travel, do so very cautiously. If you can wait, try and wait a couple of days, because that sidewalk, even just your roads in your neighborhood, they may be very slick, because we know that road crews are having to deal with some of those more primary routes, the interstates, roads that lead to hospitals, emergency rooms. So that's something that they're going to be considering. He also said, tomorrow, you have to think about that wind chill that is dropping in the area. And so that's another concern. He said, we have some people that don't have power right now. And so in our region in Kentucky, we have not seen those numbers. Those numbers where he's talking about the power outages are more in central Kentucky area. So eastern Kentucky not impacted as much as those power outages. But take a listen to what Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear had to say when he said, we've got to do the work today to prepare for the rest of the week.
Tomorrow morning is going to be the worst. It is going to be dangerously cold. Tomorrow morning, being outside for just 10 to 30 minutes could result in hypothermia or frostbite, so we need everyone to take precautions.
Yeah, that is certainly something that we are kind of all dealing with. Even when I let my dog out this morning, he was running back to our back porch and saying, hey, let me in. He was ready to come back in just after a few minutes. And I think, if you are going to go out and try to shovel your sidewalk, we've seen in Huntington area, just around our station and our studio, the roads be very slick, even those sidewalks very tricky. So I urge some caution. I was kind of doing that penguin waddle into work this morning. Just be really careful, because I would hate to hear about anybody breaking any bones or having to go to the hospital because they slipped on ice. We know that can be a really tricky situation. So you have to think about, we're not only dealing with the ice, but we're dealing with those cold temperatures that are supposed to hit the area tomorrow. And I want to pull up some more video that we have of what we've kind of started to see in the area. So just give me one moment. So this, again, like we said, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear giving a briefing this morning. We're also expecting a briefing from West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey very shortly. I keep checking that camera to see if he started. And so I'm going to go ahead and get us into that, and we can take a listen, all of us, and we'll come back and kind of recap what he said, give you an update of what we're looking at. So bear with me, and we will get that started just momentarily.
All right. Well, good day to everyone. I want to thank you all for coming. I know getting out this morning has not been easy. It's been a very difficult couple days. I appreciate folks who have made it here today, the folks that are working so diligently out there clearing the roads for all of our citizens, putting our mix of salt, our beet juice, and brine together, which our transportation folks tell us is very, very effective. We know the conditions across the state remain hazardous, and I want all West Virginians to do everything they can to stay safe. I wanted to provide a brief update on where we stand with respect to the storm and our statewide response. I think everyone knows West Virginia is dealing with a very dangerous cocktail of snow, of sleet, and ice, and then a lot of cold temperatures that will be lasting a number of days. When I woke up this morning and saw the weather report, I know a lot of the temperatures that are forecast over the next 5 days in many parts of the state are expected to be at 0 at 6 a.m. up to 6 or 7. It's going to be really, really cold. And whenever you have precipitation and very cold weather, that creates one of the most dangerous conditions of all, which is a lot of ice. And so we've been focusing a great deal on that. And I want to, first of all, thank everyone within our emergency management, within our Department of Highways, and all the different agencies across West Virginia who are doing their best right now to get out and make life a little bit easier for people. Since Saturday, we've seen as little as a couple inches of snow fall in different parts of the state. And as I was looking through, I saw one area up in the Eastern Panhandle with about 15 inches or so. Most of that system has passed, but we are still seeing some flurries here and there. But where the snowfall totals were modest, that's where we've been worried about freezing. We know that melting during the daylight hours does occur, but when it gets to evening, those sharper, colder temperatures, that creates a real problem. And we know that there's widespread black ice there on bridges, on overpasses, and we know sometimes the ice is formed on trees, causing branches to fall, and on power lines. Wind chills have dropped below 0 in many parts of the state in the past, and we know that that creates for dangerous conditions. So because of all that, my message to folks becomes very clear. Please stay at home. Please stay off the road. You only go out if you have to. I know that there are a lot of people that may look and see that the snow has really come to an end and they may want to get out, but the road conditions are still slippery. And when you're out on the roads, it's more difficult for our highways team to get out and do their work. I know that a lot of people are working very hard. They're very professional. I'd like to cite a couple statistics for you. Since the storm began, the highway crews across the state, they've logged nearly 44,000 equipment hours and more than 68,000 manpower hours. They've applied almost 41,000 tons of salt in abrasive mix and 390,000 gallons of this brine and beet juice mixture, which is really designed to be applied when the weather conditions go down a lot lower. And our transportation guys, I said it before, but I was fascinated to read about that. I don't know how many states across the country are using beet juice and brine, but I think it's a pretty good thing that we're ahead of the curve. So we know there are a lot of people that are working hard, not just the people you see outside, but a lot of folks behind the scenes, our emergency management crews, the folks in the counties, everyone's standing up to make sure that the assistance is being provided to the people that need it. We know that the state operations emergency management, that's activated. They're watching everyone very, very closely. We know that law enforcement's also monitoring calls for help. I've had reports that there's been a decrease in call volume as people stay off the roads. But we also know that response times sometimes get affected when you're talking about these difficult conditions. It's our understanding that the healthcare and medical systems and the facilities out there remain stable. Hospitals are open, and we've not had any reports about major problems in that area. We are continuing to look and investigate critical infrastructure that may get frozen, and obviously there are issues that keep arising that we're dealing with. Most importantly, we're watching the weather like you are, trying to analyze how cold it's going to be in the upcoming days. We want to let people know that if you have a question or if you need to get to a warming station, you can get and call 211, and you'll be provided with information which will be helpful to you. Same goes true if you need water or food or other items. I want to thank everyone for really staying off the roads and for following the preparation that we outlined a number of days ago. I think it makes a big difference. We've been in close contact with FEMA and folks at the national level in an effort to try to make sure that everyone is properly coordinated. I want to thank the Trump administration for the very swift emergency declaration that we were able to get, and we continue to work and wait and evaluate to protect our people. So those are the latest. I'd be happy to take any questions from folks out there.
How does that upfront disaster declaration work? Usually you have to document all
Yeah.
these things.
Well, you know, it allows quick mobility of some of the infrastructure that they may have. So I'm told we have about 1,400 pieces of equipment that are out there right now. But let's say we needed more equipment or we needed other generators and they had access to it right away. That would allow us to get that access. That's different than the normal process where you would apply and you have to document the injury or the death or the financial harm. This is meant as a quick coordination opportunity. And so we thought, not knowing the scope of the weather that was coming, it was good to coordinate. We know that a lot of states in this region did that as well. And so it just meant as a preventative effort.
Have you had to request anything?
No, we haven't yet, but we've been communicating with them. I know I spoke with Secretary Noem several days ago. I spoke to folks at FEMA last night, and our team's been coordinating. Our emergency management team has been in very close contact with them over the last couple days.
Obviously, we're focused on what's on the ground right now, but have we started looking ahead maybe another week or two until we get to a possibility where we have to shift gears into more of a flood mitigation type of situation, or are we still primarily focused on?
No, it's a good question because right now we looked, I asked that question. There were reports that came in of a couple areas of flooding, but not significant right now. So obviously the first piece of this is that we're expected, at least for the next 5 days, to have pretty brutal cold conditions. So we're not going to be seeing much flooding in those circumstances. But as the weather starts to change, then absolutely, we're of course working and talking about these topics with our emergency management team, and we've obviously looped a leadership of the Guard in place should they be needed, that they're ready to go on a moment's notice. But we're watching the weather forecast very closely. As of right now, the immediate future is really cold weather. But that is something that we're very concerned about, because if everything melts quickly, that's where another dangerous condition can arise. Hey, how are you? Good morning. Good to see you guys made it in today.
Yeah, actually that was part of my question, but would you at this time recommend to employers whose employees can work from home to direct them to do so?
I'm sorry, could you say it again?
For employers who are in an industry where their employees can work from
Sure.
home without it interfering with their work, would you recommend that they tell their employees to do so?
Yeah, I mean, to the extent, you have to make sure that you're being safe first and foremost. So what we did, even with state government today, that if people could make their way in safe, we said, you know, we'd love for you to come in, but if you can work from home to get things done, we were comfortable with that. You don't want to put people in harm's way, and so we would encourage all folks to do that. I'm very hopeful as we go through today, we continue to get a lot of the muck off the roads. But it's going to continue in the next couple days with respect to the salt and the work that we have to do because of the freezing temperatures. So we're going to continue to update people. And we'd suggest that folks follow the National Weather Service and their local media to learn updated information. You guys have meteorologists on board, but we're watching closely with all the information. We're consulting to get the latest so we can provide it to the public. Sure. Any other questions that may come up? Well, we're going to be in very close contact with you in the next number of hours or days as needed if issues arise. And we just once again urge everyone to be safe out there. If you have questions, if you want to know what's going on in your local area, if you need help with the warming station, let us know. I did want to report one other item, actually, which is important. The power outages. That's actually critical to do. So we were monitoring very closely yesterday as the power outages started to rise, and then they went up to, I was quoted, over 40,000 at one point. Through the night, people worked really, really hard. And before coming in for this briefing, I was told that the power outages were down to about 19,000 or so. That's really a great credit to the linemen and the people out there working, a lot of them working through the night. So I want to thank them for all the good work they did. But that was positive. We have to continue going, and we have to keep trying to get more and more power restored, and we're following that very, very closely. So that's critical. Let's keep monitoring that, and we're going to report more information as it arises. So thank you, and we'll check in with you soon.
All right, so that was West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey giving an update on the storm and how far and where the state stands as far as resources. He talked a little bit briefly about power restoration efforts. He said, you know, he realized that number was much higher at one point during the weekend. We can tell you, let's go ahead and check in with Appalachian Power and see what their latest numbers were. Last night when I was tracking this, you know, we had good progress made. So Kanawha County right now reporting about just nearly 12,000 outages. And so that is certainly good progress from what we've seen. Yesterday, at one point, it was around 20,000. So we know those restoration efforts are still ongoing. At this point in time, according to Appalachian Power, we're looking at restoration efforts likely going to be in a couple of days, they say. January 28th at 11:30 is what they're listing on their website right now. We do know that they have mutual aid crews nearby helping to restore power. A big issue yesterday that we saw was part of those trees coming down in the cross lanes in Dunbar area near Washington Street West. That created a significant issue as the trees fell onto the power lines, knocking a lot of people without power. And certainly that is a big concern when we have those dropping temperatures throughout today into tomorrow morning. So if you need a warming shelter, we have a full list of those locations that are available on WSAZ.com, and we're going to be updating that, monitoring it closely. If we hear of any other additional sites that people can go to, we'll be sure to update that for you. I know it's really a tricky situation sometimes when you're dealing with that. So that is certainly one resource. And if you don't maybe know where to turn to, you can also call 211. That is a resource that's offered by the state of West Virginia. They'll help get you in the right direction. If you need food, if you need shelter, any place like that, they're able to pull resources and be able to share that with you. And so that was one thing that West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey mentioned. He also said the West Virginia Department of Transportation has now worked to lay down about 41,000 tons of salt across the last few days. So that just kind of paints the picture of the magnitude of the storm that we saw and what they're dealing with. We will have more coverage for you at 4, 5, and 6 this evening, and as well as this afternoon. We're going to check in with our team of meteorologists. They're going to give us an update on where things stand, what we need to look out for. So we're going to have that for you on our WSAZ Plus streaming services for you this afternoon. And if you can't join us live, you can always go back and watch it. Maybe if you have to work or you can't necessarily miss, maybe you got to go, take that break to shovel. I certainly understand. So you can always join us back on WSAZ Plus. We'll have it on the streaming services for you to watch there as well. So we will be following this storm. We know we're not out of the clear yet. Some of us feel like it's kind of Groundhog Day around here. And I think a lot of us are going to feel like that for the first couple of days. So hopefully that sunshine will come out pretty soon and we can see it clear. That's something that we would love to see. So Another great thing, we've worked over the last couple of days a lot of people have shared their pictures with us of what it looks like in your neighborhood. What things are you guys doing to make it through the winter storm? So I would love to see more pictures. You can submit those on WSAZ.com, and we'll be able to share them on the newscast for you at 4, 5, and 6, and 10 and 11. And some people have even posted on my Facebook sharing pictures of what it looks like. And so please keep sending those in. It really helps us. And we'd like to see what you guys get to do, what it looks like in your neighborhood, what you guys are dealing with. And it certainly helps paint the picture for everyone across the region, because if no snowstorm looks the same for two people, right? Some people deal with ice, other people deal with slush, and then we've got a little bit of mixture of both, or maybe you're hit with the double whammy. So certainly keep sending those in to us. Thank you so much for joining me here for WSAZ Plus. I certainly appreciate it. We're going to get another check as we go, like I said, this afternoon. So I hope you'll join me then. Have a great day, everybody.